Welcome to my 5K Q&A video. I want to thank you guys for getting us to 5K. I still can't believe it, to be honest with you. For the first question, David asks, would I run for president or would I rather work for a administration? So I would much rather be a cabinet member than a senator or a house member, but Senate wouldn't be that bad, but 100% would rather be someone that is in the president's cabinet. Samuel says, would I like to be a politician? Like I said, I wouldn't like that. Way rather would like to be in a cabinet position, or my dream is to be like a Secretary of State. Where do I see the channel in 2028? I don't have an idea of how things will be by then, but I hope that by 2028 the channel is at maybe 50k subs. That'll be the dream. 5k, 10k, 50k, 100k, or a million. It really doesn't matter to me. This is just my hobby and I really like it a lot. I can interact with people that share the same interest as me. Lifeglade says, what is my favorite current senator and house member? I gotta go with Bernie Sanders by a landslide. Easily my favorite senator. He's not paid by anyone, and that really is a big W for me. I know I'm gonna get some slack for this, but I really do like Mike Johnson. I like the mediators, and that's really a big thing for me, alongside the fact that basically just like underdogs and Mike Johnson, no one really thought he would be a speaker when he first came into office, so that's why. Favorite president of all time, it's basically a toss-up for me between Theodore Roosevelt and FDR, so Keystone Predictions says, what is my favorite sports/league? When I was a kid, I became a Manchester United fan because one of my favorite players, Antonio Valencia at the time, played there, and I just fell in love with the team. And alongside that, FIFA 12 made me an even bigger fan of the team, and I just basically love watching the Premier League. My favorite governor in the US, I gotta go with Phil Scott. Like I said before, I like mediators, I like people that are in the middle, and Phil Scott is the definition of that. Favorite state, I gotta go with my home state of Illinois. It has some problems, but it's still my home state. Thank you, Jay Miniman, for the question. And Vance says, what is my favorite cartoon show? I gotta go with either The Simpsons or SpongeBob. I used to watch them a lot when I was a kid, so it's a toss-up between both of them. If I want to run for office, would I rather run as an independent or make my own party, the PMS party? I would love to run as an independent, but unfortunately the system in the United States is very one-sided, so I would have to choose sides, and I could pretty much fit in either party, to be honest with you. But the dream would be to run a third party and really be an independent voice. What is my favorite state in terms of visiting places? Oh, 100%. I'm a big history fan, and New York, the one with the most history in the United States. Favorite food? Nutella, however you say it. I love it, to be honest with you. I could just eat a whole can of it. Kalsara says, would you rather prefer being a politician, CEO, or news anchor? Out of all those three options, I would rather be a news anchor. I feel like I would suit that the best, and I really do just enjoy reporting news, as many of you know in the community posts. I will say news anchor isn't really the main one for me. I would rather be independent. I don't know if y'all guys know, Meet Kevin is a channel that I really like to watch, and maybe someday that's where I will pivot the channel towards, but yeah, I would rather be an independent journalist. Could you reveal the main demographics of your channel? Sure thing. Let me pull those up right here for you. As you can see, here's age, gender, mostly male leaning, and around like Gen Z, millennials. And then after that, if we can go to countries, of course. There we go. Perfect. This is the last 90-ish, or I should say, last 28 days. It's very diverse, which I really like. As you can see, I'm just gonna go through down the list. It's very interesting. Thank you for asking that. Top 5 TV series for me. Don't have top 5, but I do have 3 favorite ones that share first place. I gotta go with Breaking Bad because I used to watch that a lot with my dad, and it's a really good series. Then Chernobyl, same thing. I watched the whole thing with my dad, and I really like the history aspects. And then the last one is Sopranos. Mostly good writing, essentially comedy and drama combined, perfectly balanced. What is my height? I am 5'6", tallest person in my family. Jeremiah says, is it normal for teens to start watching news? It is normal, because once you start growing up, things start to worry you, and politics is a big decider for how things will change in your life, so it doesn't really surprise me though. It is unfortunate though, because it does mean that things need to be changed, but at the same time, there is hope in that way though, I think. Yanni asks, what is the best state that you would live in and enjoy under a better and competent governor? Illinois is always going to have mad governors, but I feel like I would love California to have better governors and better they just have terrible people running it. I think they would do really well with someone like Arnold, with Arnold coming back, or someone similar to Arnold running things. California is unfortunately one of the worst states in the union because of cost of living and just everything behind it, and just poor management, unfortunately. What is my favorite thing about President Jimmy Carter? Easily his life after the presidency, how he was very much building houses into his 80s, 90s, even being a humanitarian. That easily is S tier in my opinion. Which Mexican president are the best according to you? I'll be honest with you, none of them. I feel like from the start Mexico just unfortunately had terrible leaders, and now it's basically a narco state, unfortunately, and it's sad because it could have been a great country. Which state currently has the best senators? According to Fetterman McCormick, has probably the most representative senators for their state. Fetterman and McCormick just fit in their state quite easily, and they represent their people quite well. Both of them are pretty chill, I think. What is my favorite third-party presidential candidate? My favorite third-party, I gotta go with James Weaver. Bit of a curveball, but very nice. He was very fun. He even won a handful of states, and he was a populist, and I'm a populist, so I gotta go with him. And unfortunately, Ross Perot just did terribly. Be honest, who did you vote for or support in the 2024 election? Okay, guys, I know this is gonna be a bit of a surprise to you, but I'm gonna say that in the 2024 presidential election, I actually supported Elliot Wong for the presidency. Thank you, Snowboy, for that question. Bobby asks, what made me get into politics? Politics was kind of run in my family. My grandpa was an ambassador. My dad worked in embassies and consulates, so that's why just politics just comes natural to me. Alongside the fact that a lot of the games I'm a big Paradox fan are historical, and politics and history just they kind of coincide with each other. Ice Falcon says, what is my favorite video game? It's very hard to decide, but between FIFA 12, 2010 South Africa World Cup, still gotta go with Victoria 2. Paradox game, historical game. I heavily recommend checking it out. It is a bit old, but there's so many mods. There's hundreds of mods in it. You can have so much fun, in my opinion. And it's about the Victorian era. Highly recommend checking it out. It's so much fun. Michael asks, if you could make an amendment to the Constitution, what would you do? Anything that is related to anti-corruption, or for example, like overturning Citizens United so less money affects politics. That would be my first thing. If not, probably like something like a second Bill of Rights to some degree, about healthcare, cost of living. Unfortunately, that would be too optimistic. Also, he says, for me, keeping up with the current affairs and politics can be exciting, but also frustrating. Do you experience similar feelings at times? I will say, yeah, sometimes I do get overwhelmed, especially the first week of the Trump presidency. I was just getting hit and bombarded with news. Thankfully, I'm a person that can de-stressify quite easily. I just like play video games, take 20 minutes off, just do whatever I want if it's possible. For example, one of the things I like to do just observe a video game like CK2 right here. I just let the time run out and just see history just unfold within my eyes, and it's fun. Just gotta find the little things that just make you feel better. Do you know or study any foreign languages? Yes, I do. So my family's from Ecuador. I know Spanish, very fluent in it, so that's why. And I love Ecuador though. So Ryan asks, how do you feel about your channel growing in the future to the point that your community could be growing at such a fast rate? That is something that I fear, unfortunately, because I am getting to that point where I can't answer every single comment, and that is low-key depressing. I still heart every single comment I get, as long as they're not harmful or anything bad. I know it's gonna be inevitable that if everything goes well, I won't be able to like every comment, so maybe I'm gonna drop channel membership prices to like 0.99 so the OGs can still be seen, but still, it is a fear of mine, to be honest with you, Ryan. Newman Turbo, do you have plans of doing political satire or content around that in your channel? I've wanted to be honest with you, but unfortunately it just takes too much work, and there's just too much news, predictions, videos to make that I'm just focused on doing what I like the most. So I've seen some videos have been inspired by, oversimplified. I really would have liked to done something like that, but maybe down the road, but not for now though. Who has influenced me the most in life? I gotta go with my grandpa. He was very funny and just a very kind man, and I do miss him quite a lot. He influenced me quite a lot, thankfully. My top 10 movies, I can't give you a top 10 because I love all these movies equally, but I'm gonna say Spider-Man 1, 2, 3 with Tobey Maguire. I loved it. I literally watched it hundreds of times as a kid. I think I was like 5 years old, and I just watched these movies again and again and again, and I almost memorized the lines, to be honest with you. Star Wars prequels, I loved it. I watched it 100 times, and I'm just a big nerd for science fiction. Other movies I liked, Life is Beautiful, Schindler's List, Amadeus, all these three art history related, and I really love them, and I recommend checking them out. Do I read manga? Unfortunately, I don't. So yeah. Favorite city of mine? Gotta go with Chicago because it's my home city. The TVM asks, what is the biggest surprise of the 2024 election? Easily has to be Gen Z being so right wing. I did not expect that. I knew maybe it was going to be a bit less liberal compared to previous elections, but it just seems like Trump going on Joe Rogan was one of the best political decisions a politician has made in decades, and we're going to have that into the future, which is going to be very fun to see. Do I listen to country music? Unfortunately not. Mostly classical for me. Do you think Arizona going blue in 2020 was a fluke? I will say in retrospect now, in 2025, it does seem like Arizona going blue was a fluke for Democrats, kind of similar to when Bill Clinton won in Arizona back in 1996, and then it just went back to being a red state. Have I been to Virginia? I have not been to Virginia, but it is on my list since I've heard many good things about it. Favorite Wii game? Easily gotta go with 2020 FIFA World Cup, South Africa on the Wii. I love that game. I played that for hours, and I have so many good memories. I remember just playing as Ecuador. Fortunately, no image of Ecuador, but I just remember winning the World Cup with Ecuador and just learning English that way. Funnily enough, that's how I started to learn English. Ride Martina 2028. Martina McBride is a country singer, and unfortunately I do like Martina. She's chill, but I gotta go with Elliot Wong yet again. Crazed Warrior asks, when is a face reveal going to happen? So that is a good question. I'm actually gonna answer that right now. Favorite anime? Unfortunately, I don't watch anime, but I wouldn't mind getting some recommendations. Favorite food? I'm gonna go with a quarter pounder with bacon and cheese from McDonald's with some Fanta. I just love Fanta, to be honest with you, or Diet Coke. And my IRL name, I'm not gonna give you my last name because no one has my last name, so I can't give it to you, but my full name is Juan Sebastian. Favorite subject in history? I know it's gonna be weird, but I really like the migration period after the fall of the Roman Empire. I just find that so interesting. It's basically when the world stopped making sense, and I just find that time period after 476 to the Viking Age so intriguing for some reason. And I also feel like we were so close to industrializing, and at some points in history we could have just bypassed the Middle Ages, but instead we had 1,000 years of just kings and queens trying to form their own empires and just failing, or sometimes winning but mostly failing. How different do you think the predictions will look in the future as the election approaches? That is very much going to depend on the economy. I don't think abortion is going to be an issue down the road, but the economy is going to be again the main issue into the election, and I'm going to very much be looking forward to it because I want to see how tariffs do, if they actually are implemented and if they work or if they're bad or whatever. But that's going to be very intriguing for me to see into who will win in 2028, but Republicans are doing good right now. Conservative American predictions ask top 5 senators, governors, and House members. I'm going to go in order. So number 1, Bernie Sanders; 2nd, Warnock; 3rd, Fetterman; 4th, Josh Hawley; and 5th, Chuck Grassley. Top 5 governors: Phil Scott, Joe Lombardo, Brian Kemp, Wes Moore, and Gretchen Whitmer. House members, I'm going to go with Mike Johnson and MGP, Maria Salazar, Brian Fitzpatrick, Henry Cuellar, all mostly in the middle usually, but I just like underdogs. If you did the political compass before, where did you end up? I basically was in the center. If you want to check out the full video of when I last did it, go check it out. I basically did a bunch of tests back then, and I highly recommend watching this video. Political beliefs, kind of similar to the last question, but Eulabian and Caden champ for these questions. I'm pretty much center left fiscally, but pretty much in the center socially, so I guess either distributism or Christian democracy are basically the closest ones to me, but heavily recommend go checking out that video I said before. Center leftist ask, where on you the spectrum? Just rewind a few seconds. Basically, Christian democracy, my thing. Do I believe in marriage equality? Yes, I do. I feel like two people are adults and they love each other. I don't care what gender they are or whatever. What makes a person happy is good for me. If you're happy, I'm happy. How was I introduced to the world politics? My family comes from ambassadors and politics, so that's why. Do I like Donald Trump? I like some of his policies, but not all of them. Most importantly, I just like his personality. He's just very funny, to be honest with you. Do I think Democrats are gonna have a terrible 2028? Yes, I do. Party is at a state that they don't know what to do, and the people up top are 80 years old and they're not down to earth, and I feel like they're gonna nominate someone like Gavin Newsom and then just lose yet again. Do I want to run for office someday? Probably not. Maybe for Senate if a party comes to me and asks for me to run. I just want to be in a president's administration, essentially. If you could have voted for, who would you have voted for? Yet again, Elliot Wong, easily. What is my favorite congressperson? Like I said, I really like Mike Johnson. And do you have a Discord server? Yes, I do. Just go to my channel, the Linktree link, and just go from there and you can access it. And it's fun to chat with people with the same hobby, like I said before. Do I believe in abortion? Yes, I do. I did come from a very Christian household, but I believe that safe, legal, and rare is the best way for abortion, kind of the Bill Clinton style. Will you stay with us throughout the next election? Yes, I hope I stay with y'all. Maybe sometimes I will only upload like once a week because like I said, I'm taking care of my grandma, but I will stay with y'all. If you ever ran for president as a Democrat, how many states do you think you would win? I'll be honest with you, I feel like I'll be a gaff machine and I could even make Minnesota competitive and I'd probably lose in a landslide. Do you love your supporters? Yes, of course I do, because like I said, this is a hobby. I never meant for it to get to 5K, and the fact that y'all have made it possible for me to get to 5K, it's insane. It's just like, wow. Like I said, I'm just very thankful from the bottom of my heart for everything that y'all guys have made for me and just all the fun I've been able to have. I am just so thankful. Like, words can't describe how thankful I am. What is your opinion on other political channels? Yes, I love watching them. They're quite fun. If you think I might not watch them, I do watch them because it's just fun. Anyone you see on this list, go ahead, go check them out. What is my faith? Catholic. I was raised a Catholic and I'm still a Catholic. Secret Ninja says, which seat would you run for? I guess Senate. Like I said, probably won't run for office unless the stars are aligned. My favorite tennis player, I gotta go with Federer. I used to watch him quite a lot as a kid and I really liked him, and my grandpa basically was a big fan of him, so I'm a big fan of him too. Do any sports in high school? Unfortunately, I did not. What other subjects am I interested in? Mainly history. Like I said, I just love watching history videos. That's my main thing. Opinions on Lamont, Murphy, and Blumenthal. Blumenthal is very meh. I mean, just typical run-of-the-mill Democrat. Lamont is meh. Although I will say that I am a big fan of Chris Murphy. You can tell when a politician genuinely likes his job and working for people, and you can tell Chris Murphy is that type of person. And that's why I also feel like Chris Murphy out of these three people has the best shot for office in 2028. And I feel like Connecticut's slowly gonna trend to the right, but still think it's gonna be like a likely safety state for maybe like a couple decades. If you were to create a fast food meal with a combination from items from different places, what would you make? Gotta go with quarter pounder with bacon and cheese. I'm also gonna go with fries from this fast food chain from Ecuador called Rusty's. Their food is amazing. If you ever go to Ecuador, highly recommend checking them out. It's my go-to fast food from there. And lastly, for the drink, I gotta go with Fanta from Chick-fil-A. And what is your favorite music from Secret Ninja? I love classical. I just like classical. I'm just a big fan of classical music. XX winner, if you had to visit any country, which one would you like to visit and why? I don't know. I just really would like to visit Italy. I do have some family in Italy, and the history and just the views and the food as well it's in my bucket list for sure. What profession would you do? Right now, I'm studying, and what would you like to do? Essentially, my dream would be to be a YouTuber full time. That's basically the goal, but yeah, hopefully someday. If you can make any policy or law, what would it be? I would have to say get rid of Citizens United, something around healthcare, cost of living, or medical care. That'd be my dream. Mr. Floyd, best state in the union and worst state in the union. Easily best one, New York. Worst one by a mile. Sorry for people from New Jersey, but politicians from New Jersey and the history in New Jersey ain't the greatest. You got Woodrow Wilson, and I won't trust another politician from New Jersey. Would the world be better off if Al Gore won? It's interesting. I mean, Bush was D/F tier to do Dick Cheney. I'm guessing Al Gore wins 2000 but loses 2004 to probably like McCain. Then Hillary probably wins in 2008, and then Romney either wins 2012 or 2016, or maybe Obama wins 2016 then Romney. But I don't think Trump rises, and that's really up to you to decide. But I feel like there would be less wars and the United States would have more privilege, in my opinion. Opinion on Fox News. Unfortunately, whether it's Fox News or any type of news network, they are all biased to some degree, if not high bias, and that's really why I like more independent journalists or just finding things on my own. That's basically the thing I like to do. Opinion on Jon Stewart and his method of commentary through comedy. I think that's the way that Democrats should go about commentary in politics, and I really like Jon Stewart, to be honest. If he would run 2028, I would support him. You can tell he is is genuine, and that's a very big thing for me, and Democrats should really follow his lead. Dark Brandon, the 46th president, asks, favorite ice cream flavor? Easily vanilla. I love vanilla ice cream. It's my favorite and it's the best. Manny M says, who was my favorite president, and more specifically, your favorite Democrat and Republican? Republican, Theodore Roosevelt as president. He did good. Shouldn't have ran in 1912 though, unfortunately. Democrat, easily FDR. I loved him. He did a lot for this nation. That's why. 5R asks, my favorite president, not necessarily if they were a good president. I gotta go with Theodore Roosevelt if I gotta pick someone. He was just amazing. I love his policies. I feel like he set the US by like 20 years into the future, or in progress I should say. My job, full-time caretaker of my grandmother right now. That's why this video took way more than I anticipated, but my grandma comes first and she's amazing though. I love her. And I'm also a full-time student getting an MBA. I don't have a lot of time to make videos, but like I said, this is my hobby and I really like talking to y'all and just having fun and talking about my favorite thing, just politics. Opinion about tariffs, free trade, NAFTA, TPP. Tariffs, I'm not a person that likes tariffs, but I would like to see if they work or not. It's either gonna work very good, or it's gonna be terrible, and I really want to see what happens there. I'm not for free trade, but I'm also not against protectionism too much. I feel like a fair path would be fair trade, which is more in the middle. And NAFTA, unfortunately, I feel like NAFTA in the end, it was good for Canada and Mexico, but it did screw over the United States long term, and I feel like this was one of the worst legacies of Bill Clinton, that Detroit and the Midwest, the auto industries died, not only because of NAFTA, but NAFTA didn't help, unfortunately. And TPP, I don't know too much about it, but the United States has to work on itself first before helping others, I feel. I really loved making this Q&A video, and I can't thank y'all enough for getting us to 5K subscribers. As always, feel free to leave a like, join the Discord and the channel membership, and have a good rest of your day.